Hey everyone, Hussin here. Got another Power Rangers Super Megaforce review for you today. These are two of the Megazord figures, or as they were previously known, the Retrofire figures. These are basically figures of Megazords, so you kind of have a smaller scale. They don't transform or anything, but they're very posable and they're kind of stylized, almost like anime style, if you will, just kind of their proportions. They're very like slender. They're not really robotic looking, but they kind of have a unique style to them, and they're really interesting looking. So these are the two that are in the Super Megaforce toy line so far. The Wild Force Megazord has been released before, I believe. I never did get it though, so this is my first time getting it, but it has been released before. So if you've gotten it before, it's the exact same thing. It's a Legendary Megazord that is brand new, obviously, because it's the Super Megaforce Megazord, and it's actually really sweet. I really like this figure. So we'll take a quick look at the packaging first, and then I'll show you guys the figures up close. But here it is. So it's kind of in your, they have the figure up, in the little open packaging, kind of. Well, not open packaging, but you can kind of see it through the plastic, and so you're able to see exactly what it looks like. It's not collector friendly, as you can see there, but you kind of have the figure in that little display there. Wild Force Megazord figure, posable, as it says there, and you have an image of the figure on the side, Super Megaforce logo there. The back, there's no Wild Force logo or anything on it, which is interesting, but it says Super Megaforce. And then you have a bunch of Red Rangers kind of in the background of the packaging there, and the two figures there. Also available, all of the 5-inch figures. I've done a review of the 5 Rangers, the X-Borg, and Prince Vecker, however you say his name, is not out yet. So there's that. Then the Legendary Megazord packaging is very similar, except obviously you now have the Legendary Megazord right there, and it says Legendary Megazord, and there's the image of the figure. And the back is the same. Alright, so on to the figures themselves. Looks like I knocked down this guy. Yeah, these guys are really cool. Let me first show you the Wild Force figure right here. I'll take this out of there. So yeah, this is what the Wild Force figure looks like. And it has some nice detail on it. It's pretty interesting looking, as you can see. So it's very stylized, like the Megazords in the show were never this like skinny there, it was very blocky, but these figures are a lot more stylized, and they have a lot more articulation. So the head rotates around 360 degrees, the arms rotate around 360 degrees, they also rotate around 360 degrees right there, and the hand part rotates around 360 degrees on this side. On this side as well, same rotation there. This part does rotate around, and that's it. This part doesn't move. But then you can also rotate them around 360 degrees at the torso. The legs move forward a little bit. They can kind of be pushed a little, because this piece can be slightly pushed a little, and they do move back quite a bit as well. They do move apart quite a bit also. You can kind of stretch that piece a little bit there, and they bend at the knee, as you can see. And the foot itself does not have any extra articulation. It's kind of just this one leg piece right here. Although this can be rotated around, each thing 360 degrees. So a decent amount of articulation. This guy is kind of a little more awkward because the arms are like forever curved. You can't straighten the arms, so that's kind of one annoyance. That's kind of how the older Retrofire figures used to be, and then they changed them a little bit. So that's just one thing, just be aware of. You can't fully like straighten the arms there. This part, these do not move down, by the way, the horns right there. Then it also comes with a little weapon here. So not really too much detail or anything on it, but it serves its purpose there. Oops, and I just dropped it. It just kind of slides right in like so, and you have it there. Yeah, overall though, I think the figure looks pretty cool. I think it's a pretty neat little thing. I would have liked for this to, to be able to bend the arms a little bit more and kind of straighten it out. It's still kind of, overall, you still get a decent amount of articulation, so I think it works out in the end. Yeah, interesting looking figure there. Alright, on to the Legendary Megazord here, and yeah, as you can see, it's got some nice detail on it. Really cool. There's the back. They even have the whole space to put the key and rotate, so they kind of detailed that on the back. Yeah, actually, I really like this thing. I think it's pretty sweet. In terms of articulation, the head does rotate around 360 degrees, and it can, you know, move up and down like that. The arms rotate around. You can't really move the shoulders up or down, you know, but this arm piece here can move all the way out like so. So you can have them out like that, and it kind of like, you know, stays in place, so it's pretty nice. It can move down kind of all the way like that. You can move the arm forward about that much, so you can kind of move it forward all the way like that, and it doesn't bend back or anything though. And this arm piece doesn't rotate, but the hand can rotate around 360 degrees, so you do have that rotation there. These swords, by the way, so this fell off, but they do peg in right there on the side, so I'm just going to take them off for now. In terms of the legs here, and both of these arms have the same articulation basically. In terms of the legs, it can move apart about that much. They can move forward like all the way there, back all the way. They can't rotate around or anything. That little joint there is not going to allow that. But they can bend at the knees quite a bit. And the feet do also move up and down, so you do have articulation there. One minor thing with this guy, I don't know if it's just with my figure or if it's an issue that all of these guys has, so I'm not quite sure. But if you look at it, when he's standing up, the Yellow Ranger foot right here, this Zord, is kind of bent a little, and it makes it slightly awkward for posing. Like right now he's okay, but there's certain poses where it just is slightly weird. And if you just look at the bottom of the foot there, you see that right there? It's like the piece is twisted this way kind of, but I don't know if that's intentional or not. I can't really tell. So it's kind of twisted a little bit. So like whereas this one, everything is all flat. On this side, you see how it's not even, because this part is flat, but this part's kind of raised on this side. So I don't know if it's just my figure, but you know, when you do look at the feet here, the pink is kind of tilted that way, and so the yellow is also tilted. So it makes me think that it's kind of intentional, and it doesn't really bother me too much, but it's just a slight thing. Like if I were to try and pose it like this, you know, like with the 1 foot forward, then it makes it a little harder because it has a bit of it's kind of leaning a little bit one way, so you kind of have to turn the legs a little bit more and kind of adjust it slightly. Not really a big deal, a minor thing, but just something to note. So there's that. But yeah, I really like the look of this figure. I think it looks great. It has some nice, you know, paint detailing. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that aren't really painted. Like this is all pink. The symbols there, all the symbols are just all one color. But I think all the colors are very vibrant, and I like the gold that they used all throughout. I think that kind of makes it pop a little bit. And the silver up here is kind of nice as well. Yeah, overall, I think this figure looks really nice. I was actually very happy about this. And then you can also take the swords here and just slide them right in. And he's holding the swords like so. So this guy has a bit more, you can get a bit more cooler poses out of him, I think, because you can have his arms down and you can kind of, you know, do whatever you want with the poses there. Whereas this guy, his arms are kind of stuck in this permanent curved, you know, shape here. So you can't, I mean, yeah, you have lots of articulation, you can move it around and do whatever, but he's just permanently curved arms. So that's one minor thing there. But this guy doesn't have that issue. I think he looks pretty sweet. Yeah. So let's take a look at some of the comparisons with some of the other Retrofire figures here. So I have these guys, and let me go grab some of the other figures. Alright, so here you have it. This is my collection of the Retrofire, aka Megazord figures here. I don't have all of them. I didn't start collecting them until basically the Samurai toy line. And so I have a couple of the other ones that were re-released. Like these two were released before the Samurai line, but I didn't get them until now. So I wish I had gotten some of the other ones, but this is what I have right now. and they look pretty cool together. I actually think these Megazord figures are really sweet. I like the idea of them, and you know, some people may not like the whole stylized look that they went for with the Megazords, which I can understand. But I actually think, you know, it's kind of unique, and it makes them really interesting. I think they all really stand out because of it as well. So I actually really like what they did with these guys. So just for a little comparison's sake, let me move the camera a little closer here. And so basically, some of these figures here, the Retrofires, like for like the Dino Megazord, these were the earlier releases. So again, you have kind of the awkward hands a little bit. Like this arm doesn't, it's all straight. Like you can't, you don't really, you're not able to like bend it, you know, there. So you kind of have them permanently with a straight arm, and same with on this side you can bend here, but it just doesn't work, you know, on this side here. So it's kind of, you have the awkward arms like on these guys here, but you can still come up with some neat poses, I think. You know, like you can have this guy, you know, the shield ready, sword out and stuff. He's ready to fight, and then, you know, this guy too, ready to fight there. So some neat stuff there. And then with the Samurai Megazord, that's another one that kind of has the awkward hand here. Like this rotates, but you can't bend it. There's no elbow articulation or anything. And he just dropped a shield there. So these three here, the Wild Force, Samurai, and the Mighty Morphin, the Dino Megazord, are kind of similar in that sense, in terms of their arms are a little odd with what they can do. So you just kind of have to get used to that a little bit. So, but they're still pretty nice figures there. The rest of them, all of the other Samurai guys, like, well, actually, this guy's also the arms. You can't really bend at the elbows there, the Clawzord. But he still looks pretty sweet. He still has plenty more articulation. So they kind of started to change them at this point and make them a bit more, not as crazy stylized, you know, like you could kind of pose them a bit more in what you wanted. I think he looks pretty sweet looking. And, you know, we have, what do I got there? Gosei Grand. Now you have the elbow articulation here with this guy, Gosei Grand. And Gosei Great is another weird one. At least this arm has elbow articulation, but this one doesn't. Keep knocking them over. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, they all kind of fit together pretty nicely, though. Gosei Ultimate had plenty of articulation. He looks pretty sweet. And, you know, Legendary Megazord right there on the side. So I just kind of wanted to group them all together, and you can see what they look like. I think the Legendary Megazord fits in great with the rest of them. I think these would make a cool display piece to have. So that's definitely something to kind of, you know, think about if you wanted to collect these Retrofire Megazord figures. I think they're pretty sweet. So now I just want to do a quick comparison with the Legendary Megazord with the actual big deluxe one that you can transform as well. Alright, so I have the Legendary Megazord right here, the one that transforms and everything, and then the little Megazord figure here. And yeah, I mean, as you can see, they definitely have a different design to it. This is a lot more blockier, of course, but this has a bit more stylized look to it. And they each kind of have their pros and cons, I think. Excuse me. In fact, actually, I would say in terms of some detail, this guy has some nicer details a little bit. Like you have, excuse me, like the little symbols here are a bit more pronounced than on the legs there. I think you have some nice detail there. Although you will notice some differences in that you have the pink in the middle here, but the rest is all black, right? And you have yellow in the middle, the rest is all black. On this side, you have the pink in the middle, but the rest is all white and yellow in the middle, and this whole thing is yellow. So you kind of have that difference there. Obviously, you can't really pose it as much, like you can't bend them at there's no elbows for the big guy here. But you know, as you'll see, they got most of the little details, I think. Yeah, and even on the back, you know, they got, there's no paint on this little dial here, like the gold there, but that's a minor thing, I think. Most people, you're not going to pose them for the back, you know, you're going to be looking at the front here, and I think they did a good job of this figure. I think it's pretty sweet. Now, another thing you'll see, like, you have these shoulder pieces attached to the main body there. They're not attached to this arm here versus they're on the arm part here. So that's just one little difference in terms of look. But I mean, you know, again, I think it actually looks really sweet. I mean, this guy's nice because he is able to transform. I think he looks great as is. But this guy just also stands out too. I mean, I think he just looks awesome in this little miniature, more posable form. Really sweet. So yeah, I just wanted to just give that little quick comparison between the two, just so you can get an idea of what they look like side by side. Oh, and also just so you get an idea of the size as well. Here's the 5-inch Super Megaforce Red Ranger. So the Megazord figures are, if I can get them to stand. All right, kind of. The Megazord figures are taller. So I'll zoom in there on them. They are taller, maybe by, not by much, half an inch. I wouldn't say an inch. It's not too much taller, the top of this. So they are, you know, but they're kind of not too far though. So you can, if you wanted to, you could pose the Megazord with the Rangers or something. I don't know, have some fun with that. You can like build a whole set with the Megazords and have like giant Rangers or something fighting them, or I don't know. I'm just coming up with crazy ideas, but they're not too far off the scale basically with the 5-inch figures is what I'm trying to say. So that's kind of one little point there. So yeah. Alright, so these are the Wild Force and Legendary Megazord figures. Previously the Retrofire line, now just the Megazord figures, and they both look pretty sweet. The Wild Force Megazord figure doesn't have as much range on the articulation as the Legendary one does, but I think it still looks kind of neat. If you've gotten it before, there's absolutely no reason to buy it again. It's the exact same thing. There's no special Ranger key or card or anything that comes with it. It's the exact same thing. But the Legendary Megazord, if you don't have that, I highly recommend it. I think it's actually really sweet, especially if you're a fan of the design of the Megazord. I really like that Megazord's design, just, you know, personally. I think it looks great. And you'll see, you know, just the detail that you get with these figures. I think they look pretty sweet just to have, you know, on display on a shelf somewhere. I mean, just look at this guy. Look at the Legendary Megazord. So epic and awesome. I love these figures. I think they're pretty great. So if you see them in your store shelves, definitely pick these up. I can't remember if they've been spotted in stores yet or not. I got them off Amazon, so you can definitely check on Amazon if you want it. But I think, you know, personally, I love the Legendary Megazord. I got the Wild Force one as well, to review, but also just to add to my collection. And I think they all look great together with the other Megazords as well. But the Legendary Megazord is definitely my favorite out of these two here. Pretty sweet. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys have any questions, I'll try and answer them for you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Got lots of reviews on the way, so I'm excited to share all of those with you all. And thank you for watching. See you guys later.